All right, so let's find a comfy seat. Maybe sitting on that folded blanket. And we're going to start off tonight just finding some kind of self-massage techniques, starting with the feet. So we're going to pick up a foot, doesn't matter if it's your right or your left. And we're going to start off bringing it over if you can, giving some vigorous rubs. So rubbing the hands on either side of the foot, kind of starting at the toes and working your way up, creating a little bit of heat between the palms of the hand, a little love to the foot. And then a little clapping, so just gentle patting up and down the sole of the foot, the arch of the foot, top of the foot. Bring a little circulation there. And then we're going to take one hand and just place it underneath the shin or the calf or the ankle. And we're going to see if we can get our pinky finger between the pinky toe and the other toes and kind of weave the fingers all the way across between the toes. So depending on how stuck together your toes are, you might just come up to that first knuckle. You might be able to get all the way down. Just kind of work your toes apart. And then we'll cup the heel of the hand into the base of the foot, and just a really gentle sort of elongation through the arch of the foot. So the toes are getting a nice little stretch side to side. They very rarely get to move like that, so it might feel a little weird. All right, and then we'll just do some ankle rolls. So keeping the fingers interlaced between the toes, just nice circles. See if you can really let go of involving the foot in this motion muscularly. So just keeping the foot relaxed, supporting into the hand will go both directions. Awesome. And then we're going to keep supporting the leg, let go of the toes, and then take the pointer finger and thumb and just that little webbing right below the ankle. Just give your foot a little shake. Grab a hold of there. Give it a little shake. Nice. And we'll bring that foot down. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So picking up the foot, we'll start off with rubbing the hands along the foot, warming up those toes. So they're rubbing really vigorously. And then that clapping. Giving your foot a little round of applause, underappreciated foot. Oh, hi, Sadie. And then we're going to take the fingers and weave them between the toes. So maybe just taking the hand underneath and so you weave across. And see how far you can wiggle the fingers in between the toes. And then cup the heel of the hand into the base of the toes. And just a really gentle stretching across the arch of the foot. It's really gentle. Good girl. And then we'll do those ankle rolls. So just nice and slow. Really trying to keep your foot and ankle really relaxed and kind of letting the hand drive the motion. And then going both ways. Backing it up. A little snap, crackle, and pop perhaps in the ankle. Awesome. And then we'll let go of the toes. And then again, it's this kind of pinching, that webbing just below the ankle, and give your foot a little shake. Awesome. All right, let's bring that foot down. And sitting cross-legged or feet out in front, whatever works for you. We'll do a little hand love. So it doesn't matter which hand, again, you start with. We're going to take the thumb of one to the base of the thumb of the other and just slide the hand across. So working your way across the palm of the hand with the thumbs. Nice little massage all across the hand. And if you regularly get manicures, you might be missing your esthetician right about now. And they've got those magic skills. There's no reason why we can't do a little bit of that too. And then we're just going to take, again, pointer finger and thumb. And starting at the base of the thumb, just sort of like draw across the top. So it's almost like a really gentle pull across the thumbs. And then the pointer finger a couple times. Each finger just working your way across. And again, you might get those little snap, crackle, pop releases. or you might not. And then we'll do the other hand. So thumb, base of the opposite thumb, and just working your way across. Nice little massage for the hands. It's also a really great way to warm up the muscles of the hands before we start standing on them, if you will, for downward dogs and such. Alright, and then again, the pointer finger and thumb, and just drawing your way across the thumb, from the base of the thumb to the tip, and working your way across, pointer fingers, middle finger, all the way across. And we'll just do a little shake out with the hands. So a little movement through the wrists. Awesome. All right, let's bring the palms down, and we're going to do a little check-in for our neck and shoulders. I don't know about you, but these are places that I tend to carry a little bit of tension. So we're going to sit up nice and tall, so really be aware of your posture. And go ahead and look over your right or your left shoulder. It really doesn't matter, but just turn your neck. So take a little note of how far you can comfortably turn. Come back to center. Go ahead and look over the other shoulder. Again, little note of how far you can comfortably turn. And come back to center, and we'll do that genie arm. So bringing the arms up, bringing the right arm on top of the left, stacking the forearms parallel. Ooh, math. All right, on your inhaling breath, take your elbows over to the right, and then exhale them back to center. So we're really trying to just concentrate on moving the arms here rather than initiating a twist through the spine. Let the movement just coincide with your breathing. That beginning to settle in to our breath. And I've totally lost track of how many we've done. I'm going to say that's 5. And then we're going to switch it up. So bring the left arm on top. And then inhale the elbows to the left. And then exhale back to center. So again, 5 times. Maybe you'll keep better count than I did. I'm going to bring the hands back down to the thighs and do that little check-in again. So look over your right shoulder. Oh, nice. And go over. Look over your left. Oh, lovely. All right. A little bit more warming up for the shoulders. So on your inhaling breath, we'll draw the shoulders up towards the ears and then draw them down and back like you're making a capital letter D. So that inhale lifts the shoulders up towards the ears, and then exhale, drawing them down and back in that capital letter D. We'll do this 3 more times. Coordinating the movement with your breath. And just moving to that rate of breathing that's perfect for you. Awesome. All right. So from here, we're going to practice our front crawl and our back crawl. So you can bring your fingertips to your shoulders. I'm going to start off practicing that back crawl. So it doesn't matter which elbow starts to lift, but we're going to start making that circle as if we're doing a back crawl, and then go into the other arm. So as we are warming up the shoulders, we may now find a little bit of movement in the upper spine. So just keeping a little bit of tone through the lower abdomen, just to make sure that the lower back doesn't feel any torque or pull. And we'll do a few more back strokes. And we're going to change direction, so switching into our front crawl. And just making those circles with the elbows as big or as small as feels good for your shoulders tonight. And we'll take a few more front crawl strokes. And we'll stop. Awesome. Bring the hands down. Okay. We're going to come up to the top of our mat, so just ease your way off of your folded blanket if that's what you were sitting on. And make your way all the way up to the top of your mat. So now we've got the shoulders all nice and warmed up. We're going to do a little bit of warming up for the hips. So I'm going to turn to face you. We're going to do 5 rounds of our half sun salutation. So again, expanding on this, moving the body with the breath. So find your feet that comfortable distance apart for you. Hands are by the sides. You can have the palms facing the sides or the palms facing forward, whatever feels good for you. Sometimes having the palms forward helps to get the shoulders drawing down away from the ears and sliding down the back. All right. So we're going to be mindful of our lower back, keeping the knees bent a bit as we fold. So on our next breath in, let's sweep the arms out, up, and over. On the next exhale, fold ourselves forward, bending the knees. We're going to lift up part way on the inhale. Hands can come to the shins. And the next exhale, we'll fold it forward again. Rise all the way back up to the inhale, stretching up, and then connect the palms, and then watch the thumbs come all the way down the center. Awesome. So inhale, reach the arms out, up, and over. And exhale, fold forward. Breathing in, lift up part way. And breathing out, fold again. Rise on the inhale, reach the arms. Maybe the hands connect and we watch the thumbs come down as we breathe out. Inhale, arms reach out and up. And exhale, fold. Lift up part way. Breathe in. Exhale, fold. Rise on the inhale. Get really long, that full body stretch. And then exhale, watch the hands come down. Do 2 more rounds on your own rate of breathing. Breathing in, reaching up, breathing out, folding forward. Breathing in, lifting part way. Breathing out, folding again. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, watching the hands come down. Last one. Inhale the arms out, up and over. And exhale to fold. Lift up part way as you breathe in. Exhale, fold again. Rise all the way up on that inhale, get so long. And then exhale, hands come down. And just pause with the hands at the heart. Thumbs in line with the sternum. Draw the shoulders back. We're going to be pressing the palms together to help get the shoulders drawing back. So maybe just noticing a little bit of activation through the core muscles, through the torso. You might like to close your eyes or just look down. And I'll just start off this full movement practice, kind of checking in. Now's a really good time to check in. We've sort of done some warming up through the hands, the feet, and the shoulders, a little bit through the hips. So check in and notice how you're feeling. Notice if there's still a little bit of tension, maybe through the jaw, through the neck, through the shoulders. Through the hips or another place. And just make this little awareness into a promise to take good care of your body, to offer yourself whatever you need to do to move in a way that feels nourishing and good. All right. Let's take a full breath in. And as you exhale, drop the hands by your side and flutter the eyes open if they were closed. All right, we're going to move into our full sun salutation now. So I'm going to turn back this way. We're going to face the front of your mat. Again, hands by your side, palms facing wherever feels good in your body. We're going to sweep the arms out, up, and over as we take that breath in. And fold ourselves forward as we breathe out. Breathing in, we'll lift up partway. And breathing out, we'll bring the hands all the way down to the mat and step the feet back one at a time to find that high plank position, or maybe we're going to drop the knees down. We'll have the shoulders over the ribs, fingers spread nice and wide. Take a full breath in here, and then as we exhale, we can drop the knees down, bend the elbows, and lower all the way down to the belly. Let's point the toes to the back of the mat and keep the hands where they are, the elbows pointing back. And we'll find 3 cobra pulses. So as you inhale, reach through the crown of your head and lift the chest away. And then exhale, slowly lower back down. 2 more times. So breathing in, lifting the chest away from the floor. Breathing out, lowering down. Keeping the legs active. And this time as we exhale, we'll tuck the toes under, press into the hands, and make our way back into a downward dog. And you might like to pedal your feet in your downward dog, so bending one knee as the opposite heel goes down. I like to just find stillness right off the get-go, and that's kind of okay too. Listening to what your body needs. Maybe downward dog just feels like too much effort, and child's pose would be a better place for you to be hanging out. And if we've been paddling through the feet, let's just find stillness for a couple of breaths. Maybe lifting the hips up a little higher as we inhale, and bending the knees and drawing the chest back towards the thighs as we exhale. Keeping the fingers spread nice and wide, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Nice full breath in here. And then as we exhale, we bend the knees a little more, look to the hands, and then saunter the feet to the front of the mat. Take that breath in to lift up partway. Breath out to fold. And rise all the way up on the inhale, getting so long. Nice. Exhale, hands come down. All right. Let's bring the hands down by the sides. And so we're going to shift gears from our sort of Vinyasa active flow in this next little bit to move into our yin practice. So here's where we're going to introduce our pigeon pose, or as it's known in yin, sleeping swan. So make sure that you have whatever supports you need for that posture within reach. So we're going to get there from our downward dog. So draw the shoulders back. We found our mountain pose. Again, hands wherever feels most comfortable for you. Taking that breath in, we'll reach the arms out, up and over. And breathing out, we'll fold forward. Lift up partway on the inhale. Exhale, hands all the way down. And finding that plank position one more time. Remember, you can always drop down to the knees. And then as we exhale, we'll bend the elbows. Maybe the knees come down too. Lower all the way down to the belly. Point through the toes. Find 3 cobra pulses. So lifting up on the inhale, releasing on the exhale. Keep reaching back through the toes. And then on this next time, lift up and find your cobra pose, preparing to stay. So notice if the tendency is there to press into the hands to really lift you up high. If the elbows are winging out, draw them back towards your ribs. Keep pressing down into the tops of the feet. Keep the neck long by looking down the tip of the nose. Take a nice full breath in here. And then exhale, lower down. Press into the hands and lift the hips up and back to find your downward dog. So here's where we're going to move into our yin practice. So for those of you that really love your pigeon, you can reach that right leg up and back. And then draw the right knee to the right wrist. Walk the right foot over towards the left leg towards the back. You might like to find that blanket and slide it underneath the hip for support or underneath that back knee. Now if your right knee is saying this is a terrible idea, then you're going to sit instead and perhaps have a bent left knee. And bring the right ankle over top of the left knee and lean back into the hands. So this is a really great option, a lot less strain on the knee. So for those of you that are in your traditional sort of pigeon pose, where your right knee is going forward, allow yourself to fold forward. I feel like if you guys are in pigeon, you know the drill and you know what to do. So I'm going to take my own advice. My right knee does not appreciate being in a true pigeon pose. I'm also going to use my timer to make sure that we're all even for both sides. So a little review of our tenets of a yin practice. And so the first one is to find our edge, and our edge is that place where we feel some sensation. So looking for that Goldilocks principle of not too much, not too little, but noticing something. And then finding stillness. We know we're in the right place when we can find that stillness. And then staying for some time So the fourth tenet of our practice applies to when we exit the posture. We want to keep that sort of yin quality, that slowing down quality to the exit as well. So we're going to settle in here for about another 1.5 minutes. So just notice if it's putting a lot of strain on your wrists, to be leaning back on your wrists, then you can move from that upright position, maybe down to the forearms, or all the way down onto your back. That's a better option. Sometimes wrists are pretty tender. And then if you are in that folded forward position of sleeping swan or pigeon, just take a little inventory of how things are feeling. Notice if you would like to walk the left foot a little bit further towards the back of your mat, or if you want to draw the right heel in a little closer to the body to take a little bit of strain out of that right knee joint. And allow yourself to find a little bit of movement, a little fine-tuning, if you will, to allow you to find that stillness. And we'll hold this posture for roughly another 3 breaths. And you might like to take these breaths where you breathe in through the nose and then let it all out through the mouth with a really long, extended exhale. You might even find that having that extended exhale softens places that you didn't even realize you were holding some tension. So we'll now apply that fourth tenet of exiting with care, mindfully. So if you are folded forward, make your way back into a downward dog or hands and knees position. For those of us that are taking that seated variation, shuffling the left foot forward and uncrossing the ankle. So for those of you that did that folded forward position, you might like to sort of find like a donkey kick, if you will, just reaching that right leg back and giving it a couple of shakes. And for those of us that did that upright position, you might like to have the legs forward and sort of just a little windshield wiper motion with the feet. All right, so let's get ready to do our second side. So for those of us that are doing that pigeon, reach the left leg up on the inhaling breath, and then bring the left knee to the left wrist. Walk the left foot over to the right. For those of us that are taking that upright position, we're going to cross the left ankle over top of the right thigh. Now get yourself situated again. So sometimes it's really nice to have that blanket rolled up underneath the left hip. Sometimes it's nice to have a little padding underneath the right shin or ankle or knee. Those of us in this upright figure 4 position, just maybe switching the position of your hands. So if the fingers were facing towards the body on the last one, just see what it feels like to turn the fingers to face towards the back. Just switch it up a little. And then adjust the position of your legs to find that comfort. So making sure the left knee is a happy one. Making sure the left hip has that support so that you can really start to let go of holding on to the muscular activation to keep yourself upright or to allow yourself to fold forward and find some support. So for those of you that might be folding forward, sometimes it's nice to take the elbows up to the side and stack your fists and rest your forehead on stacked fists. And for those of us that might be taking that upright position, always a good idea, again, to revisit how the wrists are feeling and offer yourself whatever modifications you need. Again, maybe coming down to the forearms or coming all the way down onto the back. Pay attention to the right leg, the back leg, if you're in that upright or folded forward position of your sleeping swan or pigeon. Making sure that the knee is a happy one in the back as well as the front. And I just want to get really soft. So you might like to close your eyes. And just notice where you might still be trying to hold yourself upright and just see if you can let go of that active holding. Kind of sink into that support. So knowing that you have your body set up in such a way that you don't really need to use the muscles. You can just sort of lean into that way that the bones are stacked to find some softness through all the muscles. And that includes the muscles of the face, so often you might be carrying some tension in the jaw. Sometimes that's just from too much effort. And so you might like to just focus on the exhaling breath as one of an invitation to find some softness, and that softness might be through the jaw or through the shoulders, maybe through the belly, the back, the hips, the legs. You're going to hold this position for about another 45 seconds or so. Give or take a few seconds. If you need to shuffle at all your position, go ahead and do that. I like to take those 3 breaths where you're breathing in deeply through the nose and letting them out with an elongated sigh. And then once again, we'll think about applying that 4th tenet of exiting with care. So for those of us that are folded forward, again, just walking the torso up, hands into the mat, lifting back into that downward dog, maybe a little donkey kick or two with the left leg. For those of us in the other variation, sliding the right foot forward, uncrossing the legs, and maybe a little windshield wiper through the legs. Okay. So for those of you that have done your pigeon pose, from your downward dog, maybe just drop down to your knees, swing your legs around, and we'll find a seated position. So the next posture we're going to do is called dragonfly. So we're just going to take the legs apart. So we're not aiming to be gymnasts here. We're just taking a little bit of distance. So just notice if it feels like there's some strain on the backs of the knees or on the lower back. So a couple of ways that we can make this a little bit more comfortable is, again, that folded blanket. So we can sit up a little bit on that folded blanket, and that can take some of the strain out of the lower back by just letting the hips kind of tilt forward. If there's some strain on the knee, I have my handy dandy folded up mat piece here, but you might have a towel or something, and you can always just sort of prop that up. The other option is just to simply bend the knees. All right, so options here, we can just take the hands in line with the hips and stay upright. Or if we'd like to feel a little bit more intensity through the back body, nice and slow, we bring the hands in front and just start to tilt ourselves forward. So again, knees can stay bent, and your knees can be really bent. They can be bent so much that the soles of the feet are on the floor, if that feels better for you. You can just have the legs completely extended out. And just come forward to that point that feels like it's a good idea. So again, we're kind of heading for that Goldilocks position. So not too much, not too little, but just right. So we want to feel something, but not ever anything that comes remotely close to painful or electrical. And then we find stillness. And so turning your attention and awareness to your breath. And noticing the weight of the heels on the floor. Notice the weight of the hips. And just allowing the torso to lean into the hands. Fingers spread wide just to take a little strain off of the wrist. You have that flexibility to come down to the forearms. Go ahead. If you have a block at home, you can bring it in front of you. Maybe rest the forearms on that block or rest the forehead on the block. If you have a bolster, you can lay the bolster in front of you and drape yourself over that. Really find a way to allow yourself to feel supported here so that you don't have to hold yourself upright. Really just kind of let the body sink into the floor. So constantly checking in. We want to make sure that the lower back is feeling okay here. So if there is that sensation that maybe this is a little too much, then definitely walk your hands in closer and come a little more upright. After we've spent some time here, you might find that the sensation has sort of dissipated or disappeared. And if you want to kind of find it again, then you can allow the hands to walk a little further out and let yourself come a little closer towards the floor. Again, just finding that edge, so definitely listening. We never want to come anywhere close to pain. We will feel some sensation, particularly through the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, maybe the calves. And you might get a little sensation in the lower back, and a little sensation there is okay as long as you don't have any lingering disc issues. You always want to be careful with the back. I'm just going to stay here for about another minute. So we're going to hold this one a little bit longer than we held our previous postures. So if you have noticed maybe the sensation has, instead of decreased, that little whisper has turned into a very loud voice, pay attention to that and offer yourself an opportunity to dial it back. If on the other hand you found again that the sensation has kind of disappeared and you're looking to find it again, allow yourself to walk the hands a little bit more forward and get the torso a little closer to the floor. And settle in again. Let your body weight drop down into the support. You can let your chin drop down towards your chest. Maybe find a nice stretch in the back of the neck. If that doesn't feel good, keep your head lifted. And just stay here another 3 breaths. Make them full yet soft breaths. And again, that invitation, if you like, to find the exhale a really long sigh. And again, we'll exit with care, so beginning to press into the hands, slowly, slowly. Walk, hands closer, lift the torso up. Take your time, moving nice and slow. So bending the knees, maybe taking the hands behind the knees as you slide the feet in. Maybe just leaning into the hands behind you and finding some windshield wipers through the knees. So just letting the knees drop to one side and then the other. Nice release through the hips and through the back. Okay. And then we'll just make our way back upright. We're going to find a posture of butterfly. So again, it's another forward fold. So you might like to just stay up on that folded blanket if that's where you work. I'm going to make sure that my feet are being supported by something. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. My ankles get a little uncomfortable, so a little padding underneath the ankles since I'm off my mat here is a nice thing. So again, we want to pay attention to the lower back, and the position of your heels is going to determine where you feel the most sensation. So if you're looking down and you kind of have more of like a diamond shape or a square shape from the heels to the knees, then that's going to target a little bit more the backs of the legs. If you have the heels in closer to the body, that'll target a little bit more through the inner groin. So entirely up to you on where you'd like to find that sensation this evening. So you determine where the best placement is for your feet. Checking in with the back, maybe that forward fold from before was enough and you want to just stay upright for a while so you can have your hands sort of slightly behind the hips, stay upright. Or if you were perfectly fine to fold forward, allow yourself to move in that direction now, just walking the hands in front, tipping the hips, and just letting the chest come forward towards the feet. I'm going just to take a couple of breaths to get there. There's no rush. So letting yourself settle in to that first point of resistance, that edge, the place where you're starting to feel some sensation. Allow yourself to lean into the support. So perhaps it's leaning into the hands, or perhaps you have a bolster or a block that you've placed in front of you to lean your forearms on, or to just let your head rest on. We turn our attention to our breath, just aiming for a nice even quality of our breathing. A bit of a softness to the breath. Soft yet full breath. Soft and even breath. Finding that softness and evenness in our breath quality is a very good indicator that we are in exactly the right place that we need to be. And a very good pointer that perhaps we're putting a little too much effort in is when we're finding a really big challenge to finding stillness. Sometimes just being still is a very big effort, any way you slice it. So I'll settle in here about another 2 minutes. Noticing if that sensation that we initially felt has dissipated. Maybe we'd like to allow the chest to come a little closer to the feet. Or maybe we found the opposite, and what started off as a little whisper is now a very loud voice, and we want to come a little more upright. So again, offering yourself that positioning of the hands and the arms to find support, find softness. So you can let go of activating the muscles to keep yourself upright and just really lean into that support and that softness in the jaw, softness in the face, softening through the neck and the shoulders, through the spine into the hips. Just finding some spaciousness through the legs and the hips. Again, noticing sensations. Noticing that whatever sensation is there is one you can easily breathe into. And you can find softness and steadiness. Some ease. Stay here for another 3 breaths. And that invitation perhaps to have an extended exhale. And then exiting posture slowly with care, beginning to find some weight in the hands as you press into the hands. Walk them closer to the body, lift up through the torso. And again, maybe taking the hands to the knees and easing them back up, feet to the floor, a little wide apart, leaning into the hands and just those windshield wipers, dropping the knees side to side, releasing any stagnation through the hips or the lower back. Alright. And so let's find some stillness. Again, but this time we'll make our way onto our back to find that stillness. So, rolling down onto your back any way that works for you. So if you do have that bolster or pillow, maybe sliding it along next to you, your blanket, maybe something for underneath your head, adjusting your ponytail. And if you have that bolster or pillow, maybe sliding it underneath your knees. Blanket, sometimes it's nice to keep your blanket folded actually and just feel the weight of the blanket on your belly and your hips.
And your hands can rest wherever feels comfortable for you. So you might like to have your palms facing up. Maybe a little pressing down into the shoulders, a little lift up through the chest, and then snuggling your shoulders back down towards the floor. Just notice if you need to reposition your legs at all, maybe turning the toes in or turning the toes out. Maybe wiggling a little bit through the hips. And settling into this ultimate stillness of Shavasana. Noticing the weight of your head releasing onto your mat. Maybe imagining two loving hands over your shoulders. Feeling the warmth of those hands. And that invitation to let go, soften, release down. Maybe noticing the palms of the hands getting soft, relaxed. Feeling the weight of the backs of the hands releasing onto the floor or your mat. I notice that softening of all the muscles through the face, across the forehead, between the eyebrows, around the edges of the eyes, along the jawline. Maybe noticing that softening through the abdomen and the lower back. And then with that softness, the ability for the breath to expand into the chest and abdomen and lift up and then sink down. Feeling the weight of the hips on the floor. Just noticing if there's any sense of gripping or tightness through the glutes, the hips, and the thighs. And maybe as you next exhale, just letting everything get nice and soft. All the way down through the torso, into the legs, all the way down into the feet. Feeling the weight of the heels, softening of the arches of the feet. And just allowing yourself to find this stillness, leaning into that support. Following your breath. And if you feel that tonight you would be better served by just staying right where you are in Shavasana, this is your practice. Stay here for longer, please stay for longer. If you're feeling like you like to get back into your day, then maybe just finding the breath get a little longer, the fingers start to move, maybe the toes, the wrists, maybe the ankles. You might find that you like to draw the knees into the chest, give yourself a hug, reach the arms overhead, stretch out long through the legs. When it feels right for you, you can make your way over to your side. Resting your head on your arm, knees curl up towards the chest. And then again, when it feels just right for you, you can make your way upright, pressing into the hands. And all the way upright, or staying right where you are, laying in Shavasana. And if you're upright, maybe bringing your palms together to touch, finding that Anjali Mudra, that universal prayer position. Thumbs in line with the sternum, shoulders back. And we'll chant one Om. Taking a full breath in, long breath out. Big breath in. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste.